Jose Mourinho was the last Inter Milan manager to lift the Serie A title. He also added Champions League honours in 2010 before departing for Real Madrid and embarking on adventures in the Iberian peninsula. The Coppa Italia was also earned in that fateful year, the holy treble as the Nerazzurri faithful remember it. It's been a decade since those triumphs, with a whole host of managers trying their luck: Rafael Benitez, Leonardo, Gianpiero Gasperini, Claudio Ranieri, Walter Mazzarri, Roberto Mancini, Frank de Boer, and Luciano Spalletti have all enjoyed time in the hot seat, but without much to show for. Antonio Conte is the latest man to take the Italian giant's reins and is the most likely to bring silverware to the club. Conte's first season at the club was one of wonder. They finished a point behind Juventus in the 2019-20 Scudetto race. On the European front, his charges blew past opponents in the Europa League. It more than made up for the Champions League disappointments against Barcelona and Borussia Dortmund. A win against Jule Lopetegui's Sevilla would have been a dream end to the coronavirus-marred campaign, but it wasn't to be. Sevilla stood resolutely in their way and were worthy winners as the perennial Europa League champions. It was a task far beyond Inter's abilities. Despite falling at the final hurdle of their 2019-20 campaign, the results were exciting. Finally, after a decade of mediocrity, Inter Milan were fighting for top honours. Antonio Conte, who'd succeeded Jose Mourinho at Chelsea, was at the helm. He'd won the Premier League at the first time of asking, making small work of Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, and Jose Mourinho in the process. Surely, he was the man to lead them to glory again. There were question marks about this Nerazzurri side, but nothing this combative managerial genius couldn't handle. Inter will be a force to be reckoned with in the 2020 campaign and silence all their doubters. In the 2020 summer transfer window, Conte was back to the hilt. When Lionel Messi sent in the burofax to Barcelona hierarchy, there were strong rumours of him joining the Italian giants. La Pulga had enjoyed time with Luis Suarez and Neymar, and it was time for him to combine with Romelu Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez. The ambitions of Inter Milan were high, and there was no stopping them. Conte would not be allowed to lament in the media of being short-staffed in the dressing room. There were permanent signings of Nicolo Barella, Stefano Sensi, Andrea Pinamonti, and Alexis Sanchez. Achraf Hakimi was signed amidst much fanfare, while Alexander Kolarov, Darian Miles, and Arturo Vidal also became part of the dugout. Meanwhile, Matteo Darmian was brought in on loan from Parma. This squad was stacked in all departments and was backed as bookmakers' favourites to claim the Serie A title. On paper, Inter Milan were the best squad in Stivale, but the extra-long 19-20 campaign has had its impact. So far, they've struggled to get their rhythm going. They've been title contenders and not the dominant force everyone expected them to be. In Serie A, they should have been able to dispatch off the threats from Lazio and AC Milan with ease, but their profligacy in front of goal cost them valuable points. Lazio held on to a draw, while their crosstown rivals didn't allow them to get on the scoreboard after taking the lead. Romelu Lukaku scored 34 goals in all competitions last season and is followed up with 11 in 12, but failed to hit the target against the Rossoneri. In their recent domestic outing, Inter jumped to second place on the points table. They defeated Sassuolo at the Mapei Stadium to make it 18 points from 9 outings. Inter ended the Neroverdi's unbeaten start to the campaign, but are still 5 points behind Zlatan Ibrahimovic and his AC Milan teammates. The Rossoneri are leading the Scudetto race by doing just enough. Stefano Pioli's men are business all around and don't like to concede. Moreover, once they take the lead, they don't allow complacency to creep in, a fact Conte's men will vouch for. AC Milan are also stable in defence and reliable in attack. With Zlatan leading the lines, they've hit the back of the net an impressive 21 times. Only Inter have scored more with 23 strikes from their ranks. In addition, they've conceded the second fewest goals in the Italian top flight. Only Juventus and Hellas Verona have let in less. Moreover, this tally is 5 less than their crosstown rivals who are following them in the race for Serie A glory. On the other hand, while Inter have the claim for most goals scored, they look inept in keeping clean sheets. This is not their only problem. They've come into their own in the latter stages of a game and have been found struggling to find any rhythm in earlier stages. Fiorentina, Parma and Torino caught them napping, but points were secured with late surges. La Viola had all but secured the 3 points on offer as they had a 3-2 lead going into the final 3 minutes of the game. A quick-fire blitz by Romelu Lukaku and Danilo D'Ambrosio ensured the points were taken home. It was the same against Parma, who took a 2-goal advantage through Mourinho in the second half, but Conte's men rallied to get the point from the game thanks to an Ivan Perisic added time effort. Against Torino, it was déjà vu. El Toro took a 2-goal lead, but succumbed to the Nerazzurri offensive in a 4-2 dribbling. The turnaround against the Turin-based outfit must be lauded, but it should also be kept in mind that their hosts on the night had dropped 11 points from winning positions. This Inter team scores goals but also concedes them with frequency. Antonio Conte has had his pick of players, and they were delivered according to his wishes. A lot can't be deduced from their 9 domestic outings, but a pattern can be built, especially if their woeful Champions League outings are considered. Goals dry up in the Champions League as teams are warier of attacking than their average level. Moreover, each point is cherished and hard to come by. The battles are fierce as clubs prioritise the financially lucrative competition. This is not news, but a matter of fact. A manager of Antonio Conte's stature should know this. However, he's failed to learn from his lessons or failed to indoctrinate his charges of its importance. Against Borussia Mönchengladbach, they had numerous opportunities to get ahead and put the match to bed. However, they failed to make their superiority in possession count and let chances go to waste. It was the same case against Ukrainian giants Shakhtar Donetsk. They defeated the Miners in their Europa League semi-final meeting, claiming a 5-0 win, but this time around Inter were held to a goalless draw, and it seemed that they were content in sharing the spoils. There seems to be a lack of urgency, a lack of desire in Inter's Champions League outings. Only in their defeats to Real Madrid have they looked to give a second thought about their fixtures. In fact, their best outing came at the Santiago Bernabeu as they tasted a close 3-2 defeat in the Spanish capital. Inter make matters complicated for themselves. As evidenced by the games in Serie A, they allow teams into the games and then have difficulty closing the fixtures. In their most recent outing against Borussia Mönchengladbach, the game went to and fro. It should have been a comfortable win, but Marco Rose's men were allowed into the game despite not enjoying possession or even creating similar attacking threats. Despite the win, the Nerazzurri are at the bottom of Group B and have a -2 goal difference. They've lost to Real Madrid, their closest rivals for qualification to the Champions League's knockout stages. For all intents and purposes, they are at the end of their Champions League adventures as they require Los Blancos to lose at the Santiago Bernabeu to Mönchengladbach and have to win against Shakhtar Donetsk. The elite European club competition was Conte's bane at Juventus, and the performances did not improve when he went to Chelsea. And if memory serves us right, the same tale was repeated in their results in the competition last year. Barcelona and Borussia Dortmund knocked them out of the competition and resigned them to playing in the Europa League. Inter were impressive in the second-tier European club competition, but it should not gloss over their results in its much-esteemed sibling tournament. While Europa League qualification is still on the cards, will Steven Zhang and his board be happy with their €290 million expenditure only to play in the second-time club competition? The more pertinent question is whether they want the Europa League's distraction in their bid for a first Serie A title in over a decade. A European trophy is always welcomed at any club, but this Scudetto will be historic as it ends Juventus' reign in Italian top-flight competition. The answer to all of this will be certain in a week, which leaves fans to wonder where the club are heading. These are not normal times that we live in. The COVID-19 pandemic has hit the footballing world hard, and Inter are one of those clubs who need to tread water. With their transfer market excesses continuing, they can't forget about their bottom line. They recorded a €102.4 million loss for the year ending in June 2020, and these numbers will be worse for the coming year. With no Champions League revenue to show for, the Serie A title will be great for the fans and the sporting project, but not for the long-term viability of the club. Barcelona are the biggest revenue machine out there, but are tackling bankruptcy due to their financial mismanagement. Inter are a juggernaut, but not at the level of Blaugrana. It would be easy for them to fall, and the time to stand up again will be a lot longer. And what about the man at the helm? Antonio Conte had a lot of excuses last season when Barcelona and Dortmund dumped them into the Europa League. He had to have clear-the-air talks with Steven Zhang to sort out his future at the club. While Giuseppe Marotta is responsible for the financial aspects of the club, Antonio Conte has to answer for the sporting aspects. The club have not shown the promise in their performances they were supposed to show. After their defeat in Spain, the social media detractors came out in full swing. #ConteOut was trending on Twitter, and had Inter not secured the results in Serie A, fans would have been out with pitchforks. Inter is entertaining when going forward, but looks toothless at the back. They're susceptible to both through balls and aerial deliveries. These issues are compounded with their gung-ho attacking style. With the fixture list congesting in the coming weeks, players' fatigue will set in and the true test of the squad will begin. However, Conte will not be given any leeway or his excuses heard. He was given everything he asked for by the hierarchy and he was found wanting on his promises. Inter look far from convincing, and only time will tell if this squad can dethrone runaway leaders AC Milan from the points table. Failure to do so will be catastrophic for all means and purposes. Only success in this pursuit is expected, and it needs to be delivered at all costs.